What's up, beauties? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Raquel. Welcome to the fam. And if you are not new and you are returning, thank you so much for tuning into this video today. Thank you. In today's video, I want it to be a really play with makeup type of vibe. It's not very focused on the brand, it's not focused on the product. Just use what you have. That's the best part about makeup, is to just play with what you have. I don't want you guys to always feel like you have to just, go out and get the products that you see me talk about or other beauty gurus talk about on YouTube. Work with what you have, okay? And that's all about this video, is to achieve this look. Just work with what you have. I know you have a yellow, I know you have an orange, a brown in one of your palettes. Just pick up those palettes and we're gonna play with makeup. Like in this video, you're gonna see I'm not just using one palette to achieve this look. We're just picking and choosing what colors that we have, and we're gonna work with them. So yeah, if you want to see how I achieve this beautiful fall or Thanksgiving vibe type of makeup look, then you already know what to do. Please keep watching. So in today's video, I was just really thinking, it's really we're a month away from Thanksgiving. Fall is just in the air. I want to do a fall makeup look. So what I need you to do is get out one of your most colorful palettes that has yellows, oranges, and then get out a warm palette. If your colorful palette has a warm colors like oranges and browns and colors like that, get that out. But get out your most colorful palette and warm palette, and we're gonna play with makeup today. So as you can see, I did my brows. I put my tape right here. I like to put tape on the side, going slanted like that, because it's a great guide for doing your eyeshadow, especially doing your eyeliner as well. And I'm going to show you guys a little trick to doing the eyeshadow, making it look even more crisp when you take the tape off. But yeah, so let's see. I'm going to be using my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. This is going to be my third time trying this eyeshadow primer out, because if you looked at my last video, I did mention that I don't use eyeshadow primers a lot. I mainly use concealers, foundation, and I just use that as my eyeshadow base, and it just works out good for me. But I just wanted to try this out and see how I like it. And yeah, so I'm just gonna apply this on my eye and then set it, just so everything is set in place as I would normally do with a foundation or concealer. I always go behind it and set it so everything is in place, and no eyeshadows stick to any one part of my eye if it's still a little tacky. So now that my eyeshadow primer is applied to my eyes, I'm going to go in with a very fluffy brush like so. Fluffy brush like this. And then I'm going to go in with my Airspun loose face powder. And I'm just going to dust some loose powder on my eyes just to set everything. And let me tell you something. If you don't have the palettes or the powders that I use, foundations, concealers, any of that, you don't need all of the products that I use to achieve the looks that I get. Just use the colors that you have in your palette, use whatever that you like, and then it'll come out just as good. So you don't have to use this Airspun loose face powder. Just use any translucent powder that you have and just set your eyeshadow base. And any fluffy brush that you have, because you do not need no name brand or any type of brush or palette or anything like that. Just use what you have at home, okay? I really want to emphasize, use what you have at home. You don't need to go out and buy all of the products that you see on YouTube of tutorials and stuff like that, because 9 times out of 10 the products are gonna work just as the same. I have a lot of foundations and concealers, and honestly they all work just as good and the same, so you don't need to have a lot. Especially eyeshadows. Okay, so now that I set my eye primer, I'm going to go in with a gold highlighter, and let me zoom you guys in so you are closer. So when I'm doing my eyeshadow and such, like you have like a close up and personal view of what I'm doing. So I'm going to take a small brush like this, and I'm going to focus, okay, and I'm going to go in with a gold highlighter that I have just to highlight my brow bone, because when you highlight your brow bone, it really makes your eyeshadow pop as well, and it just ties the look together when you have a highlighted brow bone. In my opinion, I think that it just like ties it all together. So I just like to, you know, highlight my brow bone. As you can see, I just like went super far down, but whatever. So what I want you to do is I want you to choose an eyeshadow palette that you have, or a single eyeshadow shade that you have that is a bright orange, like so. If it'll focus, focus, focus. So I'm going to take this bright orange right here, this one like so, and I'm going to take a fluffy brush that is about this size. So get whatever fluffy brush that you have, and I'm really trying to make it focus. And I'm going to go in with that orange shade, and let me move my mirror in so you can see. And I'm just going to look, you can look straight or you can look down a little bit like this, as long as you can see. And I'm just going to run this all over my eyes, all over my crease. We're gonna run that all over my crease. And if you need to tap back into the brush, if you need to tap back into the eyeshadow pan like I did, go ahead and do so, just to build it up. But well, my earring just fell. Okay, so I'm back with putting my earring on. This earring, I just don't know why it keeps like coming off. But we're just going to just keep blending this. And I like to take my shadow like this, going towards my nose bridge in a way, like my nose, if you can see what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm very bad at explaining what I'm trying to do, but you just like watching me, I think you will get what I'm saying. So now I'm going to take a fluffy brush like so, a like more fluffier and bigger brush, and I'm just going to blend. Now blending is super, super important with any look that you're trying to achieve, because especially when you're putting down your very first crease shade, blending is super, super important. So now I'm just going to go in with the other side, and I'm just going to apply that first shade, which is the orange shade, and I am just going to make that work. I got the gold like close down to my eye, so it's gonna look a little goldish and weird, but hey, it's okay. Okay, so next I'm going to go in with, it looks like a orangish brownish color. So it looks like an orangish brownish color. Go with the shade that literally looks like this color right here. It really just reminds me, sorry, I'm trying to make it focus and see where I'm doing. It just looks like an orangish brownish color. So go in with a shade like that, and we're literally going to go on top of that first shade that we applied with that shade. And we're using the same brush that we used from the very first shadow that we used. We're using that same brush. And now, we're just building it up. And then when we get to like our darker shades is when we're going to go a little bit lower, and we're going to use a little smaller brush. But right now we're going to use the same brush that we're using. And then remember, every single time we apply our eyeshadow, we are going to go towards like this part. It just looks so good, and it ties the look together. So now, if you need to pause this video to, if I'm going too fast, you need to pause this video to get it to your liking, do so. And then when it's to your liking of, putting it on your crease, then resume the video, and then we'll go to blending that second shade. So now we're going to take the fluffy brush that we used before to blend out the first shade, and we're just going to blend that shade because you don't want any harsh lines or anything like that. You don't want anything harsh. So it's very good and important to blend those shades. I got that a little high, but it's okay. So I don't know where my smaller brush is that's like a little bit fluffier. I don't know where it is, so I'm just gonna use the same brush that we had just used to apply the 2 shades. And what I love to do is I love to just keep like a towel next to me or a washcloth next to me that I can just use to wipe off the excess color, so when I apply my next shade the color is not still on there. And then that's just something that you can do when you use the same brush but a different color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my other palettes and I'm going to take this shade. It looks more like an orangey reddish brown, like a red brown type of vibe. And I'm just going to take this shade and I'm going to really go a little bit lower than where we applied. I'm not going to go as high. Basically, if you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to where like this crease is, like where my eyes crease. I'm going to go where, like I'm going as high as that. I'm not going to go as high as my very first shade. And I'm going to really focus it in the crease of my eyes like this with the blending brush. So you see, I'm not going as high, and I'm really going to smoke out this outer V part like this. But I'm not going to go as high as I did the second shade because you really want all of your shades to pop and all of your shades to be seen. You want all of your hard work that you put in to still be seen. So I'm going in with my other eye. I'm not going as high, but as you can see, I'm just going basically where my crease is, like that. And I'm just going to focus it in my crease area to smoke it out. I'm going to take my fluffy brush that we used to, and I did wipe my brush off on the towel or my washcloth just so nothing is on it, and it's basically like a cleaner brush. And I'm just going to blend that. I'm really going to focus the brush and blend that edge just so everything is blended and seamless and there's no harsh lines. You don't want to see where it's like the light, the dark. You want everything to flow together. So these earrings are just really blowing me, like they won't stay. Okay, so I just really had to just like take something and like close them because they were like loose, but whatever. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, it's like smoked out. And yeah, I like to make my makeup looks very wearable. I don't like to go too heavy. And also another tip that I want to tell you is that when you are using the brushes, like when I use my brushes, I use it on a light hand. You want to do it as if like you're painting, not when you're writing. And you don't want to do it as if like you're using a pencil and you're writing, because you have a lot of grip and you have a lot of pressure on the pencil, so you don't want to take your brush like that. You want to do it like this, like have your brush like this. Oh, and I'm gonna try to put it in the camera. Ooh. Okay, so you want to have your brush with your hands like this, and you want to take it with a very light. You want to be very light-handed, and you want to go kind of towards, when you take your hand kind of towards the end of the brush, you have more of a lighter hand and it just blends a lot better and seamlessly. So take a light hand and just blend it like that, and it just really will look a lot better when you use a very light hand. So that's just a little tip. So, you know, yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want you to go into a very colorful palette that you have that has a yellow shade. Go to a single shadow that you have that has a yellow shade. Any yellow shade that you have, pick it up, and we are going to use this in our next like step. Now I've been doing a lot of cut creases lately, and I really want this makeup look to be easy, especially for people who really don't know how to do cut creases or haven't gotten down packed yet. So I want to do this look without a cut crease. This brush that I'm using, by the way, this brush is just a regular Sigma Duo brush. It has the shadow part at the end, and then it has like the fluffy brush at the end. This came in like an eyeshadow palette, but yeah, you don't need a brush like this. Just get any type of brush that has like a regular shadow brush. Just get a shadow brush, and we are going to do this part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this yellow shade right here, and I'm just going to, whenever you feel like you got too much on your brush, like if you dip your shadow in the brush, if you dip your brush in the shadow and you feel like you got too much, take the top of your shadow or whatever, well, take the top of the palette, I just can't talk right now, and just brush it off like that. And then you'll see like some of the excess of the shadow coming off. And then if you need to build it up, just build it up. Well, build your shadows up if you need to. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the yellow. If I had done a cut crease, this yellow would pop so much more, but I have an idea for what I want to do. So I'm just going to take this yellow, and as you can see, the yellow is going a lot of places. And if your shadow like ends up, you know, going over, just, you can either go over it like that, or just get rid of the shadow if it goes like on the top, and you know, you can take a Q-tip and just wipe it off and it'll go off. So I'm just gonna dip my brush in this yellow, and I'm just going to really like focus it like so. And it does not have to be perfect. Like, there is no rules to makeup. You don't have to make it perfect, just do it to your liking, and like so. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to take a clean fluffy brush. Well, this is not necessarily clean, but it's a fluffy brush that doesn't have a shadow on it, and I'm just gonna really like clean up the edges like that, because I don't want yellow like all over my lid. And I'm just gonna go on the other side, and when I'm doing this, I'm looking not with my eyes closed like this, but I'm really just like looking where I can see. If I was to do a cut crease, I'm basically putting the shadow where I would for the cut crease. So I'm just really going along that cut crease. Well, imaginary cut crease. And we're gonna do it like this, just like this. All right, so I do have some fallout, but what I'm gonna do is take my Q-tip, and I'm just gonna wipe it away. Wipe it away. Okay, so now we have it like this. Now what you can do, if you want to, you can either leave it like this if you want, or what you can do is, if you have a gold eyeshadow, I have my ColourPop single shadow. This is the Here We Go Again Super Shock shadow, and it's just really like a beautiful gold shade. If you have any gold shade in your palette and like any single shadows, use it. And we are going, and if you want, you can leave it yellow like this, or if you want, you can go on top of the yellow and just put the gold. So what I love to do is, when I'm using like these shadows, I like press pigmented shadows or shimmery shadows, I really like to use my finger sometimes, because I just find that they apply so much better, and I don't want to use my middle finger. I find that they apply so much better with my finger sometimes. So you can just apply them with your finger and such. And if you want, you can use a brush as well. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. And I'm just like getting it everywhere. And I'm just gonna fix that. I really just like kind of messed up the inner corner part, but we're gonna fix that. anytime you mess up on your eyeshadow or whatever, it is fixable. Anything is fixable when it comes to eyeshadow or anything like that. Ooh, that just like went on so beautifully. Oh, that just went on so beautifully. And I'm just gonna go in with my brush and just clean up the edges a little bit, because I got like some of the shadow on my edges and I don't want that. And let me tell you something, when we be doing like those dramatic looks, it does not take like 30 minutes to do. It actually takes like an hour, 2 hours to do. So when we do videos that are like not that long and we're doing like dramatic looks, it's because we like cut some time off just so it's not a super long video. I don't know, do you guys want to look at super long videos? I don't know if you guys want to, so I just try not to make my videos that long. Okay, so now that we applied the gold on top of the yellow and made it pop even more, so now it kind of looks like we had like a little cut crease going on, but you know, we don't. And as you can see, mine is not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's to your liking. Mine is, you know, to my liking, so I'm gonna just leave it like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the very first shade that we added to our crease. So go back into that first shade, which is that orange shade that we applied, and go in with the same fluffy brush that you applied the orange shade, and we are just going to put it next to that orange, just in a crease like that, just so everything is seamless. And I just love to sometimes just reinforce one of the crease shades that I add on my lid, just because it just looks so pretty. And I mean, I just love playing with makeup, so the more the merrier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a smaller brush like this. You can either go over it with your finger or go over it with a smaller brush, but what I'm gonna do, oh, and another tip to you is that if you have a pressed pigment or a shimmer shadow or anything that does not pop to your liking, what you could do is dip your brush in it or wet your brush first. But I would advise dipping your brush in the shadow first and then taking a setting spray or just anything that's wet, like water setting spray, and wet your brush with it after, and it'll pop so much more. Like, oh, I love that. So what I'm gonna do is and I'll show you what I mean when I do my inner corner highlight, just so you can see what I mean. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go back in with, actually no, I'm gonna go back in with the Super Shock Shadow, the gold shadow, and I'm just going to take my brush like this, and I'm just gonna really just go over the edges, just effortlessly just go over the edges. That's just so there's no harsh lines and everything is seamless, like so. And if you just want to play with it, going back and forth into the orange shadow, you can do that. Just do whatever you want with your makeup. Like, it's your eyes, it's your face. Do whatever you want, okay? Do what makes you happy. So I'm just gonna go over it just a little bit so everything is seamless. Okay. And then what I am going to do is I'm going to take a smaller fluffy brush. A smaller fluffy brush. You know that the reddish brown shade that we applied to our crease, we want to reinforce that. So we're gonna go in with that fluffy brush. I'm going to dip my brush into that shadow, that reddish brown shadow, but a smaller brush. It can be a brush this size, or you can use a fluffy brush like this. I'm using a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to really focus that shadow right there, literally at the edge, just so it is more smoked out and there's no harsh lines and everything is seamless. And it's really great to have your guide of your tape because it really just helps to reinforce that your eyeshadow is going to be seamless and such. Okay, so next what you want to do is you want to go in with, you can either go in with the same gold eyeshadow that you want, go in with anything that you want to use as an inner corner highlight. I'm going to go with this loose like pigment, and it's like a goldish yellowish like loose pigment. It's very like, yeah. And I'm going to show y'all the trick of what I mean by wetting your brush and such if it doesn't pop. Like this pops, but I'm gonna make it pop, okay? What I like to do is I like to take my brush, and I'm just taking, when I do my inner corner highlight, I like to use a brush that has this small edge to it. This small edge, because it makes it more easier to work with and to apply my eyeshadow in the inner corner, and you can like really get in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to dip it in there, and it's like, ooh, it's a lot, and just tap off the excess because that's a lot. And I'm going to take, this is my Mario Badescu skincare facial spray. It's the fastest, this is the closest thing that I have next to me. So I'm just going to take my spray and I'm going to go in, and I don't even think that it like sprayed that much. Hold up. Ooh. You really want to get the brush wet and just go in with it. Like so, and bam, bam. And what I like to do is I like to take my brush and just like flick that shade up like that. And yeah, and then I'll take like a Q-tip if anything is like, you know, and I'll just go on the sides like so, so it just looks better. If you can see what I'm doing, I'm just going along the sides of it so it looks a lot seamless and better. So I'm just going to do that same exact method but on the other eye. Like, oh, you see how that just pops a lot more? Oh, it just looks beautiful. Oh my gosh. That just like pops so beautifully. So now we have this going on. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to do my eyeliner off camera, but once I'm done with my eyeliner, I'm going to come right back and we are going to go to the next part of the look. I'm debating if I want to do like a brown liner with this. I think I'm going to do a brown liner with this and just, yeah, just do something different. So yeah, make sure that before you do your eyeliner, do not take this tape off until after you're done doing your eyeliner, because it is a great guide to achieving the eyeliner look that you want. So yeah. Okay, so I just took one of my tapes off, but I want to show y'all. So I did a brown liner. I want to show y'all, like, literally the tape is such a good guide. Take the tape off, and voila. Like, look, like you literally have like it perfect. Like it is literally perfect to your liking. So what I do like to do, this is just me, this is just what I like to do, is I like to take a concealer. This is my little trick of how I make my eyeshadow just pop even more and look very seamless. And if you have any eyeliner that literally just like drips down even with the tape on, this is a great trick. So I'm going to take a flat brush. Take whatever flat brush that you have, if it'll focus. Take whatever, take whatever brush that you have that is flat, like so. Just a flat brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some concealer and I'm going to just take some and put a little bit on here. Like that is like too much, but whatever. And also what you want to have next to you is, it'll be good if you have a small like concealer brush, or just any type of, you can use a concealer brush, you can use a sponge, you can use anything that you have next to you just to blend it out. So I'm just going to take my brush, I'm going to take my flat brush, and I'm just going to, I'm trying to show y'all, and I'm just going to dip it in there. And you don't want it to be a lot, you just want it to be where it's like covered like this, where you have it covered. And this is the trick, this is how you get it to look so flawless. You want to take your brush and you want to really just like go along. That's why it's also good to have this guide of the tape, because it leaves this like sharp, precise line. And you just want to literally go outside of the line, like follow the line. Like so. That's why you don't want to have a lot. And my eyes is like watering. And you're just gonna like, and I like to take whatever I have left on the brush, or if it's a lot, I just like to brush it going down. So brush it going down, like, oh, and it's gonna look so good. And then you take your concealer brush, or you can either take a beauty sponge and just like, you know, blend it out. But I'm just gonna take my concealer brush, and everything that I'm using, I'm going to link down below, so you have everything that I'm using and you know what I'm using. But it's not about what I'm using, it's about what you have. So don't feel like you have to go out to get the brushes or anything that I have just to achieve the look. Just work with what you already have at home. So just use what you have, and if it's a beauty sponge or a brush, just use that, and voila, it just looks so perfect. It looks better than on this side. I love to do that because it just gives you that like type of look. And that's why I said you don't need that much, because you really want it to look nice and flawless and seamless. And like I said, I just dipped my brush in it again. It's literally like this much. Try not to make it that much. And if you can see, I'm just going along the sides. And I always say you don't want to have too much on your brush, because you have way more control of the product. You have way more control of the product, because if it's too much on the brush, the products could potentially like go into the shadow or go into the eyeliner, and you don't want that. You just want a little bit on the brush where you have a lot of control. So just brush it down, and it doesn't matter about this because this is going to be covered with foundation anyways. So it really doesn't matter. So take your take your concealer brush or your beauty sponge and just blend it. Just literally blend it. And honey, you are going to have a crisp and precise look. So now it looks precise and crisp like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put mascara and lashes on, and then we are going to go to the face makeup. Okay, so I just finished doing my lashes, and the lashes that I'm wearing is the Kiss Lash Couture, and this is in the style Cashmere. And I'm just gonna put it close so you can see it. It's in the style Cashmere, and I was like debating of which lashes, if I wanted to go for a more dramatic lash or if I wanted to go for a dramatic but natural type of lash. It's not really natural, but it's not dramatic either. It's not as dramatic as these, but these are my lashes that I'll wear if I put a lot of emphasis in my eyeshadow. Like if I do a full cut crease and I have like the ombre moment, I put these on because these really show the work that I put in, instead of it just being like, you know, dramatic lashes like these lashes really just show the work that I put in, and it just really, you can see the lashes, like they look like beautiful voluminous lashes, but they're not as these are the Kiss So Wispy lashes in the style 01, These lashes are not as dramatic and stuff as these ones are that I'm wearing, but like I just really love these lashes, the Kiss So Wispy lashes, because they really show they really show the work that you put in with your eyeshadow, and I really love that about these lashes. I was debating putting these on, but if you look at my previous videos, I am wearing these lashes, and these are my go-to #1 lashes right now. And also the Kiss So Wispy lashes are my go-tos. Like I love the Kiss So Wispy lashes. Like if you see lashes that are like this, but it doesn't have to be this style, it's different styles that they have. I really do love the Kiss So Wispy Lash Couture style lashes. Like they're all so beautiful. So yeah. Okay, so now let's go to the face. I did zoom you guys out a little bit just because we're not really like so focused on the eyes, so you don't have to be super up close, and we're just going to be playing with makeup. So take out your favorite drugstore foundation, your favorite drugstore primer as well, and your favorite drugstore powder, and we're going to be working with that right now. I'm going to be using a lot of drugstore face makeup, so just take out your favorite drugstore products for your face. For primer, I'm going to be using my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is just one of my favorite primers, and it's just so good. I love all of the putty primers that e.l.f. has. I even like the luminous one. Like the luminous one is nice too. So I'm just going to take this, and I still have like gold on my hand, but I'm just going to take this and put it all on my face. So my favorite foundation right now, a lot of people don't really like this foundation. If you look at the reviews, well, if you look at the Ulta reviews, a lot of people don't like this foundation, but I never ever go off of other people's reviews when I'm trying on a product for myself, because I just want to see it for myself if I like it or not. And I actually really do like this foundation, and it is the Maybelline Superstay Activewear Foundation, and this is the up to 30-hour wear foundation, and I am in the color 355 Coconut. So yeah, I'm just going to put this on my face. So as I said, I actually really do like this foundation. It actually does control my oils. I like to really start light with the foundation. So I put it on my hand like this. I shake it up first. Any foundation I use, I shake it up first. I like to start light, so I'll just take it lightly, and I literally just like do swiping motions like this, and then like I apply it to my face. Actually, I'm just gonna do it like this and then do my face, won't do my forehead after. And I really alternate between the e.l.f. buffing foundation brush and the e.l.f. Ultimate blending brush. The Ultimate blending brush is just my favorite. I just love this brush, but I'm going to use the e.l.f. buffing foundation brush, and I'm just going to buff this all over. And like I said, I really do like this foundation. Like it actually like has my makeup staying matte. Like I have oily skin, by the way. If you didn't know, I have oily skin, so I really just like to wear a foundation that says that it's matte and, you know, has a long wear type of deal. If you have oily skin, I got like a little sidetracked. I thought I had another scratch on my face. You really want to go for a foundation that has the words mattifying, long wear, transfer resistant, and what is it, smudge resistant as well, because, you know, those are the key things that you want to go for. If you have dry skin and you find that using a brush doesn't go well, or it doesn't apply as good with foundation, try using a beauty sponge. I find that sometimes if a brush doesn't work with foundations, a beauty sponge works a little better, and such like that. And also when it comes to foundation, it doesn't matter what you use. It's all about whether you have dry skin, combination, or oily skin. It's all about how you prep your face, you know, your skin prep and everything like that. That is the most important thing for how your makeup will apply and such. So yeah. And make sure if you have dry skin or even oily skin that you moisturize. If you have dry skin, look for a primer that is very hydrating. So then you have that hydration on your skin. And sometimes I really emphasize on letting the primer, after you apply the primer, let it sit for about a minute or so it can really do its job. And then go ahead and apply the foundation. So yeah. Also, if you have dry skin, look for a foundation that says glowy or luminous, because, or even dewy. Glowy, dewy, luminous, those are the number one words that you want to go for when it comes to applying. Well, those are the number one things you want to go for when it comes to looking for a foundation, because that's really what you want, is a glowy, dewy, or luminous natural finish. You don't really, I mean, you can go for a matte foundation if you want. It's all on your preference, but my tip to you is to go for a more like glowy, dewy, or luminous type of foundation, because those are a little better for dry skin. And also, like I said, a hydrating primer is really good. And also, I do know some people who use face oil like before they apply their foundation. If they still have dry skin after they do everything, they apply like facial oil on their face and then apply the foundation. Or I don't know if they mix it in with their foundation, like the face oil with their foundation, but I do know that some people who have dry skin, they apply the face oil to their face and then apply the foundation. So those are just a little tips for if you have oily skin or dry skin. So yeah. And if you do have oily skin and you want a more natural finish, you can definitely go for a foundation that has like a natural finish, and then just go after behind it and just set it with the translucent powder, and you should be good. Now this is honestly not like a drugstore concealer, but I love this concealer. Ever since I tried it, I just freaking fell in love with it. Like, I just fell in love with this concealer. And this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Magic Touch Concealer, and I am in the, well, I'm using the shade 16. I just love this concealer so much, like so much. So this is the concealer that I will be using on my face. And like I said, I like to use small amounts and then build it up, whether it's foundation or concealer. I don't like my makeup cakey at all. I like for my face to look like my skin but better, so I like to start light and then build it up. So with this, what I mean by starting light is I'm getting like concealer everywhere. I'm just going to do like small dots, like so. Like, you really don't need that much. You don't need to do like that whole triangle type of vibe. Like, you don't need to do all that, because if you are going out and you're wearing your makeup, you don't want your makeup to look cakey at all. You want it to just look like your skin but better. So I'm just going to take those like small dots. I may just add like one more, and yeah. And then I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. beauty sponge, and I'm just going to blend in. This is the e.l.f. Camo concealer sponge. This is the e.l.f. concealer sponge, and I absolutely love this sponge. It just really does the job, and it really just gets in there. So I just love using the sponge so much. You can either use a sponge or you can use a concealer brush, whatever you prefer. We are doing our makeup together, so it's whatever you prefer. And also, another great tip is to follow anyone on YouTube or look at any of their videos who have similar skin types as you, similar eye shapes as you, similar features as you, because you can learn tips and tricks on what works for them. So like, if you watch someone who has dry skin, they can give you great tips on what they do to achieve the makeup looks that they have, or what they do to make it work for their foundation, concealer, or whatever. If you know anyone who has hooded eyes that does YouTube videos, follow them, because they could give you tips and tricks on how they do their cut creases, how they do their winged eyeliners, how they make their eyeshadow work, and how they make their eyeshadow pop as well. So it's always always good to follow different people who have different features or and same features as you, so then you can learn what works for them and things like that. I like to follow people who has all types of different features, skin types and everything, because I love learning about different tricks and what a lot of people use. Like, everyone's different, nobody does makeup the same at all, so I just love like learning new things. Like, I absolutely love learning new things from other people. So yeah, so now I'm gonna go in with my NYX Set It Don't Fret It matte finishing powder. I love this matte finishing powder so much, and this is in the shade light medium. Ooh. Yeah, I absolutely love this powder so much. So I'm just like tapping the excess off because you don't want it to be too much. I don't bake like that. I don't be doing a lot of baking unless like I'm just going out for a really long time and I need to make sure I bake. But whenever you like have your concealer sit for a long time, you really want to go back in with a beauty sponge and make sure that your head is down but you're looking like up, and you just get in those creases so there's no like, there's not a lot of creases and things like that. And then go in with the setting powder. It's a lot of setting powder, but I'm just like tapping it off. But I got a lot of setting powder, but it's okay. It is okay. What I like to do as well is I like to go in with a big like beauty sponge, or you can go in with your concealer sponge, whichever one you want, and just like push it in, push the product in, and it just really like blends. If you have like a lot on your face, it just really, like if you have a lot of powder on your face, it just really like it blends it in and it makes it seamless. Okay, so now honestly I've just been doing like a lot of bronzing lately, but I'm just gonna like do a little contour and then bronze. So what I love to do, I feature this palette literally in almost every single video that I do. I just absolutely love this palette, but you don't need this palette. Just go for any palette, go for any contour shade that you have, and we're just gonna contour our face. But like I said, this is just like my go-to palette that I use to do my contouring, bronzing, and blush and highlight. This is the Morphe face palette. I am using the shade 8T Totally Tan. It has 2 bronzers, 1 contour, 1 brightener, 2 blushes, and 2 highlighters on it. I love to use this palette because it's quick and easy, and if you're in a rush, you have everything that you need right here to apply your face makeup. So I'm just going to use the contour shade in here, and like I said, use any contour shade that you have, whatever you like to use for your contour, just go in and use it, and we are just going to contour our face. And sometimes I really like skip contour and I just go straight to bronzing. Yeah, sometimes I just really just like don't even contour, I just go straight to bronzing my face because sometimes you just don't need to contour your face. And I do contour my nose as well. Like I love contouring my nose. Like, okay, so now I'm going to go in with my Juvia's Place Bronze Duo. I absolutely love this bronzer palette. Like, it is bomb. This is in the shade Dark. Yeah, I'm using the dark shade. If it's so focus. Yeah, I'm using this in the shade Dark. And I'm just going to bronze my face all over, and I literally just use both of these shades, and then sometimes I tap it off if I have too much. Like I said, it's easier for you to build up your products rather than you just go in straight with pigment, and then it's like kind of harder to work with. It's always good to start light and then build it up, whether it's foundation, concealer, eyeshadow, anything. Start light and then build it up. And after I do all that, I really do like to go in with a beauty sponge sometimes, just to blend everything in so everything doesn't look too harsh and such. So I'm going to go in with, for blush, we're going to blushes now, so take out your favorite peach blush. Whatever peach blush you have, high-end drugstore, take it out because we're going to use it. So the first blush I'm going to go in with is I'm going to go with the e.l.f. Putty Blush. I don't know what shade this is. For some reason, this like really, I don't know if I actually took the shade off when I was taking the packaging off, but it's just this like peachy shade. I'm trying to let it. It's like this peachy shade, and it's super beautiful. It looks like a more natural type of blush. And I'm going to take my e.l.f. Putty Primer Applicator, and I'm just going to dip the brush in there and smile. I'm going to smile and apply this blush, and then I'm going to go over top of it with another blush, but it's going to be a powdered blush. And I actually like this because I can use this on top of my powder. So like I said, even with blushes, start light and then build it up. Okay, so now that I have my cream blush on, I'm going to go in with another blush, and this is going to be another like rosy peachy blush, and I'm trying to get it to focus so then you can actually see the color of it. Yeah, now you can see the color, but I don't know if you can see the color like this, but it's like more of like a rosy peachy blush, and this is the LA Girl Just Rosy blush. And I'm just going to take a blush brush and smile, and this is just going to set everything. Pretty. And sometimes I like to take whatever is left on the brush and I just like to go over my nose with it. And there you go. Okay, so, and yeah, another tip is whenever you use a cream, blush, bronzer, contour, always go over it with a setting, like a setting powder, or go over it with a powdered version. So if you use a cream blush, you can go over it with either a setting powder to set it, or go over it with another powdered blush in a similar shade. So I used like the peach e.l.f. Putty Blush, and then I used the Just Rosy, LA Girl Just Rosy blush, and they're like in similar shades, so I just go over it with that. If you don't have a shade similar to that and you just want to set it, just go over it with a translucent powder, not a colored powder like a banana powder. Go over it with a translucent powder that isn't going to leave like a color, I guess. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do is we're going to go to highlight. Okay, so now what I need you to do is go and get your favorite gold highlighter, because we're going to use a gold highlighter to highlight our face. You can either highlight your entire face or you can just highlight your nose. And I like to highlight like my nose, and then I'll highlight like my, whatever this is called, I forgot what it's called, and then like my chin. I think I'm just going to highlight like my nose area, and then like, yeah. So I'm going to go in with my Makeup Revolution Vintage Lace highlighter. I absolutely love these highlighters. Like, they're so beautiful, so gorgeous. I'm trying to get it to focus so you can really see the beautiful colors. These last two shades look so similar, but they're so different, so different. So, and it's crazy because this shade you would think has like pink reflexes, but this is more of the golden shade, and this shade has like the pinkish gold reflexes, but this looks gold. It looks gold on the pan, but they like swatch so different, which is what I really like about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the very first shade right here. This one is more of like a goldish pinkish type of, like a goldish rose gold type of vibe. And I'm always going to, whenever I do my nose, my dad is like, I think my dad is mowing the lawn right now, or my neighbor. Somebody is. We're just going to ignore it, and I'm just going to talk a little louder. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this brush, and I'm just going to highlight my nose. I like to do a lot of wearable looks. I don't just do looks just to wear it in the house. I like to do looks where I can like go out and it's like wearable and like appropriate type of looks. So yeah. Alright, I don't need any more highlight. And I'm gonna take my like fluffier brush and just like do a little bit of this and maybe a little bit of this. Okay, should I do a little bit of highlight? I mean, I don't know if I want to do a little bit of highlight like on my cheeks, because it already kind of has highlight in a way. Oh, what the heck, I'm just gonna do highlight, a little bit of highlight right there, like a little bit. It's really like not even like really noticeable, but I notice it. Now we're gonna like finish off the eyes, and then we'll be done with this very, very long, in-depth makeup tutorial. Make sure that you have your towel in hand, because we're gonna be using the same brush for a lot of, yeah, we're gonna be using the same brush a lot for the lower eye portion. So make sure you have a brush, well, a towel in hand to wipe it off. So what I'm gonna do is, what I love to do for the lower eye portion part is I love to go in with the same shadows that I applied in my crease. So the orange shade, the brown shade, and then the more like reddish brown shade. I'm gonna go in with it, but I'm gonna show y'all how I do it. I always go in with the darkest shade closer to my lower lash line, but I'm gonna show you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go in with the orange shade. So go back in with your very first orange shade, tap off the excess, and then we're just going to really just apply this to the lower part. And I'm so sorry if like the lawnmower is loud, but look, the show must go on. And I'm just gonna go back in with the orange shade so it's like pops and it's there and emphasized. Okay, so next I'm gonna go back in with this orangish brown shade, which was the second shade that we used in our crease. And I'm just going to apply that directly on top. And I love that shade because the orange shade just really makes this shade pop. So I really like the orange shade. And as you can see, with every single shade that I dip my brush in, I always tap it off, just so it's not too harsh. Because like I said, you want to start light and then build it up, because it's easier to maneuver and it's easier to work with than for if you just start off with a lot and then it's like kind of hard to work with. But okay, so now the very darkest shade that we used, which was the red brown shade right here, the red brown shade, I'm going to take a brush that is like this, very pointed towards the edge, sort of just like, you can take any small brush that you have that's like a small smudge brush. But what you want to do is going with your darkest shade. Whenever you're doing like the lower part of your eye, I really like to go in with the darkest shade. So you can go layer it with whatever shades you want, but go over with your very darkest shade that you used, whether it's a black, a brown, your very darkest shade. Take a brush like this and go in with this. It just closed on me. I really like to just dip the tip of the brush with it, and then I really like to go as close as I can to my lash line without getting the shadow in my eye. and just smoke it out like that. You can go in with whatever shades that you want, but I just like to go in with a very, like the darkest shade that we use to just smoke it out. But I always like to emphasize it like closer to my lash line because I just think that it looks so good when I do it like that. So I've been waiting to use this eyeliner. Like, I bought it for another video, didn't even use it for that video. I think I bought this eyeliner to review the Jaclyn Hill Divine Neutrals palette, but I just did not end up using this liner. But we gonna use it today. It's gonna get to use today. So I'm going to be using the Maybelline New York Tattoo Studio Gel Pencil Liner, and this is in the shade Smooth Walnut. It's just this like brown liner shade, and I'm just going to run this on my lower lash line. And this is just to really, oh my gosh, I'm like, my eyes are starting to water. And this is just to really smoke it out, and I really like this because it really like smokes out this look. Especially since the look that I'm going for, well, the look that I went for is not too dark and smoky. Like, this really just like emphasized it, and I really wanted that for this look. And I'm glad that I went for like a brown liner, a brown wing liner and a brown liner. Like, I really like that. We are just going to do our lower lashes, and then we're going to be done with this look. So as always, I always love to go in with my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist because it literally is a mist, and it doesn't feel like I'm just like spraying my face with water or whatever. Ooh. And I need to get some more of this because I think I'm like really running low on this. But yes. So now, let's see. What lip do I want to go in with? I'm going to go in with a brown lip liner. So take out a brown lip liner, and we're just going to line my lips. And then I'm going to go in with my NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Madeline. So go in with a brown lip liner and then go in with a nude lip. Okay guys, so I really like this makeup look. Like, I really love this makeup look a lot. Like, it looks so good. Oh my gosh, and it gives me like fall vibes, fall Thanksgiving vibes. Like, that's the vibe I'm trying to go for, is fall Thanksgiving. This is a makeup look that you can do for Thanksgiving, like a nice bright gold and orange and brown. It's really easy. I try to do it step by step so you guys could really, you know, see like how to achieve the look. And you know, I just want to make it easy for you guys because it's not hard to create the looks, but just take your time and remember, practice makes perfect. And also, I want to say, make sure you do makeup for how you want to do it. Don't do makeup to impress anyone else. Do it how you like to do it. So it's just all about you, and it's just all about practice and everything like that. It takes time. So I really hope this makeup look was, you know, pretty easy, step by step, and it wasn't too hard. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this makeup look, please give this video a like, thumbs up, subscribe, and you already know I will see you beauties in my next video. Bye.